Hi, I'm Chris Brockel. I'm the manager of Feed Kitchens. Feed Kitchens is in the north side of Madison, Wisconsin. We are a shared use business incubator for food entrepreneurs. I'm going to take my glasses off because they keep steaming up. We are operated by the Madison Northside Planning Council, which is a nonprofit, so we operate as a nonprofit. Which I'm not sure gives us any advantage other than fundraising, donations, and grant writing. But as far as the regular business operations, I think if you're running as a for-profit or a nonprofit, pretty much you're going to operate the same. We are a 5,400 square foot facility. We have 5 production spaces. We have been in existence since November 2013. So right now our array of members here, we're a 24/7 facility. We are membership based. So to operate a food business in here, you have to be a member. We have about 65 commercial members right now. Commercial member is somebody who's making a product for sale. It might be direct to consumer, it might be wholesale, but they're making something that has to be licensed by DACAP or Public Health and then sold. The rest of our members here, about 25 to 30 of them, are nonprofit organizations. Some of them are just community groups that are doing little projects here. Some of them are running social enterprises, like making a local fruit and vegetable infused popsicle or a frozen pizza product or something like that. But those commercial member or casual member or nonprofit member all work here side by side. It's a wonderful maker space for foodies, great support for people that work together, even if people are making similar products. They don't view each other as competitors, they view each other's success as helping each other, and so it's a great place to be. So a quick introduction to our spaces here. What I'm standing in right now is we consider our deli kitchen, which is more of a traditional restaurant line. And we're scanning over, we've got a bakery kitchen right over here. Nice, wonderful wooden bakery tables for rolling out dough. A lot of the work with members here is teaching them how to use the equipment, how to use the facilities. And so no chopping on the baker's tables, no spilling of sauces on the baker's tables. We have a roll-in oven right here. This roll-in oven will handle 2 speed racks at a time. They hook into here. This oven is dedicated to bakery only, so we don't get any savory flavors mixing with our bakers. We have a proofer right here, so if you have dough that needs to be proofed, you can control temp and humidity right here and get your dough proofed. Should we walk over to the training kitchen? Kitchen over here we call the training kitchen. When the place was first built, the idea was that we would have training classes in here. Feed itself does not have the staff capacity to offer training. Basically we have about 2 staff here, 2 full-time staff. And then some other people, that bookkeepers and other folks, but really in the facility daily it's 2 folks. But other people can rent this space, they can offer trainings here. It's perfect for 12 to 15 people to come in. If they're renting the space, they charge admission for their trainings. That charge is theirs to keep as long as they're paying for the space. This is also just a nice all-purpose smaller production space. Caterers like to use it. Small batch bakers like to use it. We have the smaller baker's table in here. Double stack convection ovens. What we find is a lot of people who don't have commercial experience aren't used to convection ovens, and so a little bit more training on the convection oven than on the gas range and stoves. But people get used to them pretty quickly. We have an array of mixers. We have the KitchenAid personal home stands down here that people can use. 20-quart mixers. Out in the bakery we have a 40-quart and a 60-quart mixer. We actually have demand now, people asking us to have an 80-quart mixer. We'll see. Hand wash, whoops, this way? All right. We're going into our dish room. Dish room is shared by everybody in the facility. We have a dishwasher down here, hot water or hot air sanitizing, gets up to 190 degrees. It's about a 1-minute cycle on the dishwasher. Necessary to have a 3-compartment sink for hand wash or for ware washing. So if you want to, necessary in any kind of commercial space, 3-compartment sink. Also hand wash sinks just about everywhere in the facility. So every kitchen has at least one hand wash sink. Some of them have more than that. Items that you see on the shelving here is all shared use. One of the issues that we have in a shared kitchen space is getting things returned to where they belong. So we're not running around the facility looking for a spoon or a spatula. So I haven't quite got all the answers to how to do that, but we're constantly working on it. We're standing now in our vegetable processing kitchen. So we have two compartment sinks that are dedicated only for vegetable washing, produce only in the sinks, and then wonderful stainless steel tables for chopping and dicing and doing all that work. We provide dehydrators for here. They haven't been overly used, but we have had somebody making gummy bears, CBD infused gummy bears in here, and then we have a local garlic grower who takes his garlic at the end of the year. Anything that's left over dehydrates it, makes garlic powder with it. Vacuum sealer, very important piece of equipment. People love to use this thing. So a way of preserving food and keeping it, cooking it ahead of time and preserving it and freezing it. We have a label maker right here, so people can make sort of simple labels. They're not going to be colorful, but they're going to have a UPC code on it. They're going to be able to put their business name on it, allergen statement, ingredients. So it's a nice place to start. And it's continuous feed. Bakery scale, we provide, actually we have 3 scales. This is for our bakery, but we have 2 more that people can take. All of our scales are certified by the City of Madison Weights and Measures. Go back to the people are allowed. We do rent floor space for equipment here. So if people have a specialized piece of equipment and we have room for it, they can have it in here. We charge them $25 a month. We're going to step in here, and so an example of that would be under these covers over here. We have dumpling makers from China. We have some Tibetans who sell momos, and they used to twist them all by hand and now can use the dumpling maker and crank them out. So now they can sell them wholesale to other restaurants as well. This is our specialty kitchen. We used to call it a meat processing kitchen. The reality is you can't really process meat in a shared use space. HACCP critical control points are too hard to control, and so if you're thinking of a meat processing kitchen, you probably want to have a separate facility for that, separate from your other types of processing. We supply ice for our caterers, well, for anyone that needs to use it, but caterers and food trucks are going to be the people that most access it. Deep fryer, we have 1 deep fryer in a facility with 90 members. I would recommend that you have more than 1 deep fryer. It's a pain to try to control who's cooking in there and who's done one at any given time. Other than that, we have, I think, 2 important processing pieces of equipment to point out in the deli kitchen are the steam jacketed kettle over here for making sauces, double lined stainless steel so you don't burn things. Make soups, stews, sauces, cook them down, drain them out. I think, Dan, you make hominy in the steam jacketed kettle. We also have a tilt skillet right here that acts like a big skillet. So you can cook tens of pounds of meat in here, rice and beans in here. The other important use for this is hot water bathing for canning. So I can fit 60 quarts in here or 90 pints in here at a time and hot water bathe them and get them done, which is certainly a lot more efficient than 7 jars that I can do on my stovetop at home. We have grill, flat top, down the line, stove and range. double stack convection oven, and this piece of equipment on the end is called an Alto Sham. We actually put a separate reservation on this piece of equipment because everyone wants to use it. It's an expensive piece of equipment, about $25,000, but it does convection cooking, conventional cooking, smoking, steaming. Runs off an app, so I can put my recipe in there, put my item in there to be cooked, and if I'm not here, I can turn it on with an app by my phone. Other than that, we have got to have the necessary storage. So we have walk-in cooler. We rent shelving in the walk-in cooler, or we rent space here by the shelf. In a cooler, it's about $35 a month for an expansive shelf. We're in August right now. Normally in August, this cooler would be so full that you could barely open the door. Obviously, we're in a pandemic right now. Business is a little slower. We're not quite as full, but generally, if you're planning cooler space, freezer space, plan for a certain size and then go bigger, because you're never going to have enough. So, anytime we talk to people, it's like you think you're going to need one thing, but the reality is you're going to need a lot more than that. And a prime example of that is the walk-in freezer, which we rent space in here for $40 a month for a shelf. You can tell, even in a sort of non-busy time, right now, the freezer is packed. So we definitely want a bigger freezer. The big thing about the freezer, working with people in a shared space, is making sure that they don't stand with the freezer door open, because when it's hot and humid out, it's really hard to keep those condensers free of ice. What we have here is, oh, no problem. You gotta make a living. We have here our members. What we do is we create a binder for each of our members. When they come in here, their binder is going to have production log. That's not a good example. It's going to have their production log in there. It's going to have basic information about their business. In the back, it's going to have their certificate of insurance. So we require people who are here to have the certificate of liability naming Feed Kitchens as otherwise insured, additionally insured. Their license should be in here. ServSafe certificate should be in here. And so we try to keep them in alphabetical order. Not everybody knows their alphabet perfectly, but we can generally find people's binders. And when public health or DACAP inspectors come in this building, which they will do often, they will make sure, they will check these binders to make sure people are logging things. When people are in here, they should have their binder with them so that it's proof that they're actually writing down and logging lot numbers, batch numbers, things like that. And so we really work with people to make sure they have their binder with them and keep them up to date, because even if they're not here, public health is going to come in and be checking. Other than that, we do supply a retail shelf here. These are some of the products that are made here. Because the building is locked now for the pandemic, it's probably not the greatest example of everything that's made here, but it's a good example. In a normal year, we will do bazaars. We'll close down the facility and turn it into a marketplace and invite the public in here, and they love to meet the makers, purchase items. A pre-Christmas sale, people are walking out of here with armloads of local product. We supply towels and aprons for folks. When we first opened, we didn't do that, but we found it a lot easier just to go ahead and supply them. We use Cintas, but you can use any local provider. Otherwise, if you ask people to bring their own towels, suddenly you find all kinds of different rags laying around the kitchen. You don't know who they belong to, and this way we can just make sure they all get washed, and it's really not that expensive. Lockers, we provide lockers here so people can use these for free if they're just using them for the day, but they can also rent a locker for $5 a month if they want long-term storage in here. We provide a computer over here that has access to a printer. So if people need to do a quick menu, work on a label, do anything, they can do it right here in this workstation and access color printing. And we have a meeting room, conference room for folks, which now is acting like a storage area for our community meal program during the pandemic. But generally this would be available to people as well. The building is security locked. Members here get a security key. We use something called the Food Corridor, which is a web-based platform for shared use kitchens for calendaring. Prior to subscribing to this, we used Google Calendar, and that did not work very well because anyone can go in and delete other people's stuff and write over it. This way, when you make a reservation, that reservation is yours. The nice thing about this program is it also will bill people through it. So they make a reservation, they put in 2 hours here today, the system is going to charge them $60 tonight for the use of the kitchen. We try to provide as many resources as we can for our people: licensing, vendor associations, pricing, food business resources, DATCAP stuff, point of sale purchasing devices, you name it. What I try to do here is I'll get a lot of salespeople stopping in and wanting access to our vendors and our members. What I will tell them is they can leave their information here, but I do not act as a representative for any companies. So I will not push their items for them. We do provide 2 restrooms, they're both unisex. So the big thing there obviously is keeping them clean, having a cleaning log for the restrooms, because the inspectors will look at that as well. And then back into the brain trust of the area, and my desk, and well, another employee who sometimes is here but isn't here full time. But tight space, we need a lot more office space. If I were planning this facility, knowing what we know now 6 years ago, I'd say more office space, a lot more storage space. We need some classroom space. We probably need a second conference room because it does get busy, in a retail area. And the retail area I would include as the ability to have like a pop-up restaurant or pop-up deli, where we could rotate some of our caterers and our food cart operators through there offering lunches every day, and then have permanent retail shelves for the sauces and the bakery and the other things that are made here. Yeah.